To start my mini stable tour off with Adrian DuPont. This is quite handy, he's got his head over the door. Adrian won really nicely at Fontwell the other day, jumping really well on the hole. Obviously it's one of those you'd always hoped he'd be a better chaser than hurdler, but he's got a really good way of going about it. He is still a little bit keen at times, but he did switch off well at Fontwell, and hopefully now he's becoming more of the kind of completed article. We'll head on over here, see Malaya. She won a listed juvenile hurdle at Wetherby the other day. Obviously she is a mare, so it's one of those that Mares Fillies programme now is absolutely excellent for these sorts of horses, so hopefully there'll be a lot of opportunities ahead for her, but she's still plenty green at Wetherby and won nicely, so hopefully she'll be a horse to look forward to in the coming months. We'll head just over here. A nice horse called Brio Conti. Had a good season last season, missed out in the Martin Pipe conditional jockeys race by 1, and then actually went on and won really well at Kempton in the consolation race. He's going novice chasing. He's a nice horse, beautiful, is a strong travelling horse. Like I say, is one of those that time has done him the world of good, and like you say, the more kind of education he gets under his belt, hopefully the better it'll be, but by no means is he the finished article yet, and hopefully Jumping Fences will be just the start. Head into the barn. See Capitaine. Capitaine won really nicely at Market Raisin the other day, following up from his first success at over fences at Newton Abbot. He jumped really slickly, put a really good distance between himself and actually a really decent field. It's one of those, he's a forward-going horse, and I think it's kind of just have to accept it now that whatever happens, he is going to be that little bit keen, but he did switch off well and behind the other day, jumped nicely and then took it up and really put them all to the sword and straight, jumping very fluently. So I think it's one of those you look forward to the Henry VIII and such around Sandown. Good jumping test, and obviously he's a proper horse. Head down here. Samatagel, he ran really tidy the other day at Wetherby. Nice to have him back after a very long absence. He ran a really tidy race just before getting a little bit tired late on. So obviously some of these big handicaps are going to be back in the picture for him, which we're really looking forward to. Jumped beautifully and travelled really nicely just before getting a bit tired. So fingers crossed now we'll get a clean run with him and hopefully see him back on the big stage. And a horse obviously a lot of people might not know too much about. This is Binge Drinker. Hopefully he'll stay well. It might possibly be my ride in the Grand National. He's a horse that's come over from Rebecca Curtis's. He actually beat Mike Bite over fences at Foss-less. He's schooled well here. His work is just starting to step up. Fingers crossed he's a nice horse, and obviously we're still learning about him and still seeing how he trains and how he does it with his homework, but it's one of those, looking at his performance on the track, we're hoping he can turn into a proper horse for the season ahead. Head up here. Thought the best way to finish up my brief mini stable tour would be with my friend Vincente. He's an absolute great servant for obviously all of Ditchit, for Trevor Hemmings now winning the Scottish National for a second year. Like you say, he is always a better horse later on in the season, but it's one of those he's still a pleasure to have around. He's still working well, jumping well at home. It's just one of those, he's just, I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason he does just come alive towards the end of the season. Imagine we look at the Grand Nationals, Scottish Nationals again, and fingers crossed it'd be great if we could complete the three-timer, but even so, whatever he's done, he's been fantastic for me here at Ditchit, and pleasure to be around.